Good afternoon, Whalecoin Talk community. This is the first AMA of today. I'm joined here by Adam in the online cold wallet team. Adam, before we get started talking about the project, can you give us a bit of background about the team and how they got to be in the crypto space?
Yeah, I'd love to. First, a little bit on me, just so you
Sure.
understand, who this person is, right? Like, as I had mentioned prior to recording, my name is Adam. Nice to see y'all. I love the community here. I've been representing OCW on quite a few AMAs recently. I'm their voice chat partner to speak about them today, but I am not on the core team. But any questions that I'm not able to answer, and we're actually going to have the questions at the end if they come up, be answered by Barbara Rose, who is part of the team. A little bit of background on me. It's not as important, but just so folks know, been in crypto since about 2018. Bought my first BTC and ETH around then. Didn't buy much, didn't have much money, but then in 2020 got more interested. Really started actively understanding DeFi, getting into actually representing projects. Actually became a marketing manager for 3 different projects, and now a spokesperson for projects that interested me. So now going into the actual team, the more important piece, I'm going to turn it over to Barbaros to be able to speak on the team. Go ahead.
Sweet.
Thank you, Adam. So this is Barbaros. I am the marketing manager of Online Cold Wallet project, also working as an advisor at the same time. So I've been also in the crypto for many years, likewise Adam, like 2000 started it in 2018. Since then, used to work as a marketing manager, as an advisor, also as an investor to many projects. So here I can tell you the team actually, the project belongs to the company located in United States and has branches over Europe as well. And so the team actually itself is consists of developers, marketing managers like me, and also software engineers. But since this is a wallet project and owned by not individual but the company, so I represent with Adam here, I represent the project. So I'll be answering any questions. Thank you.
Beautiful. And gentlemen, would you tell me some of the primary differences between your technology and that which is being used by the likes of Ledger and Trezor?
Yeah, I'd love to. So speaking high level, like what is the difference, right? I actually would love to share screen. Is that okay? Just so I could kind of like give a visual representation too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. All right, let me grab that tab, share screen. So this little snippet taken from our online cold wallet website, onlinecoldwallet.com. This really encapsulates a lot of what they're trying to do with the project. So basically, it's the two worlds meeting of a cloud wallet experience and a hardware wallet. Cloud wallet, I think we're all familiar with. We probably have it installed on our phone or as an extension on the browser. MetaMask, Trust Wallet, so on, so on. It's connected to the internet, and it allows you the convenience of being able to connect to dexes and any type of platform to be able to do swaps, to be able to interact with projects. The hardware wallet is what you had mentioned, a Trezor, a Ledger. Those are you know they're a little bit harder to use for new folks, I would say, but they're not especially a hard barrier of entry, especially how they're set up now and how the apps are set up. But there's a little bit higher barrier of entry. Then there's also a cold wallet, and a cold wallet is you can think of like a seed phrase that you write down or a sheet of metal that you stamp out your seed phrase on and then you put it somewhere secure. It's a backup, essentially. It's not connected to the internet. It is just a backup. This is really combining actually kind of all of those. So what makes this different is it's not just a hardware wallet. It's not just a cold wallet. It is the synergy between the two, and they work in tandem. So if I take, and we'll get into it later, and I actually have a demo to show as well. If you take the cold wallet that you're able to get sent to you after launch, if you take that and since it's NFT technology, if you tap it to the back of your phone, once you log in to the OCW app that's already ready for Android and coming for iOS, you're then going to be able to get access to your wallet and the dashboard connected to said wallet. So without the card, you cannot get access to that wallet. Now, the good thing is there's a lot of technology and support backing that up. So let's say you lose the card, you're going to be able to get support to get it again. You do have to KYC initially for it. So that way, if you were to lose the card or if something were to happen, you're able to have that backups means. So that's really the difference, is adding in ease of use, adding in an additional almost like three-factor authentication type means, but I would say closer to like a physical two-factor authentication. And then also we'll get into later, this is the first type of experience that actually allows for 6 different networks to be used in tandem on the dashboard, which equates to about 10,000 different trading pairs. So that is what I would say really sets us apart, is all of that ease of use, the utility, and then also the fact that there's tons of security baked in. Even if you lose your card, it's okay. You can still, just get a new card by contacting them, re-KYCing. By the way, you're not KYCing with OCW, which would be a point of failure, of course, right? If the company, worst case, were to go under or something, well, how do I get my assets again, right? It's through a third party. So it's through, a third party that is not interested one way or the other. And once you pass their check, then they say, okay, good to go. The card can be reissued. So that's a little bit, just really high level. We'll get into more detail, of course, later.
Certainly. Who is the third party?
Yeah, so to my understanding, it's InterFi. I could be wrong there, but Barbaros, if I am, let me know, or let the let the community here know. But
I will say for the KYC of the project, it's Interfi, but for the security of the project, at the end of the day, the people might wonder, my assets will be in the card, yes, but what if the company can reach the card? So to receive those kind of questions, the company is working with the third party KYCs, like security identification companies there, like they have their licenses, they have their verifications. Can be shared upon request, of course. I'm going to have to ask as well because they keep it hidden. So the company actually only has access for the background of the card, so they cannot access your assets in your card. So this
So
is the yeah.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Well, I wanted to ask if doesn't hosting private keys on your application or in some company's cloud raise major security concerns for the end user?
No, this is actually misunderstood by you. The cloud, it's not on the cloud. It's all the information, for example, the assets, the everything, all the information is under the company's cloud, but the KYC part is only upon within the third party's cloud. For example, you are registered and you had your identification sent to the company upon request. So after you lose your card and you come back to the online cold wallet team and said, okay, I lost my card, and they don't do KYC with you again. They come back, they ask you the requirements, and they direct you to the third party company to confirm your KYC. That's only for KYC, the third party company. That's all. The rest will be within one place, one server, and located in one place. All the database will be stored there, and there is only two people can access that, which is the company owner and the CEO.
So the
and
private keys are stored in all the private keys are stored in a database.
There is actually, yeah, but there is no private keys. There is, Adam will walk you through the project with more details. So we are using physical cards with different technologies there.
Got
So
it. So
it's actually matching.
before I go
Yeah,
ahead.
go.
Sorry, there's a
It's
bit of a delay
matching.
on my end. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. It's matching. The card is matching with the unique identification number from your phone. So each phone has their number called UID. So the card actually matches with those phones. So every card is individual.
Understood. And Adam, did you want to go through a quick demo just so I can get a better understanding of
yes,
how this works, from the creation of the wallet to how it's stored to what happens if I lose a card to what happens if someone finds my card and has malicious intent? I would like to know a lot more about how this works from a nuts and bolts perspective.
Definitely. So let me go through this tech demo. I think this is like a pretty cool way to kind of showcase the technology and actually see it. This is how I learned personally. So let's watch this real quick. And I love that this was recorded not even that long ago. I think like less than a week ago, like 2 weeks ago. And these cards are actually being shipped out from the U.S. To be able to do the initial phase test. So I'm gonna play this. So I think that was a pretty cool demo. So what you guys saw there was the dashboard, which we'll go over. Oh, sorry about that. Apparently we're auto continue on YouTube. So I wanted to turn it back to you just to kind of ask some clarifying questions based on that demo, and then I'll go into like more specifics.
Yeah, certainly. So from the looks of it, the user is using the card in sync with the app in order to access their assets. Some of the questions I have is, well, one of the questions I have is what happens if the user loses their card and a malicious actor is able to get a hold of it? Obviously,
Yes.
they need to have that respective user's password and information, but it and I'm playing devil's advocate here a bit. So, but this seems like it could be a big security concern if a malicious actor was targeting a specific individual.
That's a very good point, and I think it's realistic as well, because especially if you have more than a couple $100, or even if you do have a couple $100, it's still money, and you're storing it on this new application in this new way. So really, what's happening here is how it works, like you saw in the video, was you have to have that physical card. That physical card acts as the unlock mechanism to get into the wallet on the phone, either on iPhone or Android. How that link works is through NFC, and it has to verify the device's ID, unique ID number, and that has to match with the account, and then has to match with the card. So it's almost like a three-way authentication. Now, if you lose the card and someone were to find it on the street, or even steals your wallet and finds it in there, or robs your house and then finds it, right? Well, they can't do anything with that because they don't have your phone. Now, if they have your phone and your wallet, yes, they're able to get in, of course, right? But they're actually looking at creating even a fourth layer of protection via a PIN, via additional, password if you want to add that in as well. But at the bare level, it's already going to have like a three-factor authentication backup, essentially. So that's the big difference. Is if you lose the card, it's okay. You can contact OCW, and they're going to have to reach out to their third-party KYC to verify that you are who you say you are. And once that is verified, then a new card can be issued to you and sent. But again, even along the transit route, if that card's intercepted, nobody can do anything with it because they have to have your unique device that's enrolled. Now, here's the thing. Let's say why I switch phones. Now it has a different, device ID. True. That's when you would reach out to OCW, re-KYC, associate the new device ID to the account, and now that card will work for that account. So there's a lot of things that kind of work in tandem. There are still points of failure in the sense that, obviously if someone has your phone, has the card, and they understand how this works, yeah, they can get in. But that's kind of the same with anything. If someone finds your seed phrase, you're kind of screwed, right? If someone finds your ledger and you have your PIN written down somewhere, they can get in. So it's kind of creating that fine line. It's balancing, I should say, that fine line between security and also ease of use. And the team here found that the ease of use of swiping a card or just tapping it on the back of a phone is something that a lot of folks are getting much more used to with NFC payments and that sort of world kind of, being lived in. So they said, why not bring that to, a cold wallet like experience with an excellent dashboard view? So hopefully that kind of answers a little bit. Like it's not held by the company itself; it's held by the KYC, and it's on them to be able to verify and match. And if that matches, then they're able to reissue a card if needed.
So this is essentially a step up from a custodial wallet such as Coinbase, for example, where all the malicious actor would need is your phone password, and
Hmm.
boom, they get in and they have control of your assets. This has an extra layer of security with the card. You still need to sign up with a username and email. I'm assuming if you wanted to transfer funds out of your wallet, even with the card, you would still need email verification, or at the very least, you had the option of adding email and 2FA
Yes.
verification. Am I correct?
You're 100% correct. Yeah, you're going to have that additional layer if you want. But by default, to my understanding, it's just going to be the card swipe. So you card swipe and you're ready to go. The cool thing is once you initially log in, I'll actually show you what that looks like now. Once you log in, I'm logged in right here. You never have to log in again. All I have to do is swipe my card on the back of the phone and I'm instantly logged in because it recognizes my account and it recognizes my wallet info. I can change that, of course, and I can have it be a PIN or a password or another verification means. But by default, this just takes you right in. And this is on launch what the dashboard is going to look like.
So this is technically a custodial wallet, not a cold storage wallet.
Well, it's a little difficult because, to my understanding, the actual card itself can act as a cold wallet because you can still receive payment to it. So there's actually a QR code on 2 out of 3 of the actual cards, where if someone's like, "Hey, I want to send you $1,000, but I don't want to send it, to your MetaMask, or I don't want to send it even to your Ledger," let's say, well, they can actually just scan that QR code and it just has the receiving address. And then they're able to deposit funds. I don't need to do anything with that or interact with it to be able to receive funds. So it's still acting by itself. And if I don't have the phone paired, it is completely independent. It can still receive money. It can still hold my assets. It can still do everything. And until I take it with the phone, then it becomes active in the form of this dashboard and I'm able to see my funds and interact with them.
Mm. And the individual wallet private keys, they are well, excuse me, the private keys for individual wallet holders, those are stored in a centralized location that is, secured through through diff- through numerous different ways. Am I correct?
Yes, and that definitely seems like a point of failure because you're storing private keys in a centralized place. But there's again, even if those are compromised, let's say a database of all the of all that is essentially found, right? The way that they have this set up, and I'll have to have Barbaros explain a little bit more in depth, or maybe get a follow-up answer. The way that it's interacting is to be able to get in, you have to have that, of course, but you also have to have the device ID matching to be able to see any of those funds. Now, traditionally, when you have a private key, you would be able to import it anywhere, whether it be through MetaMask or Trust Wallet or whatever. So I'm going to have to
Mhm.
understand a little bit more on that myself. Because I'm kind of curious, because I know that they definitely do have it in a central place. No one really has access to that outside of the like 2 people on the core team. But I think we'll have to have Barbaros circle back at the end if that's okay, because I want a little
Yeah, of
bit more
course.
clarity as well.
Yeah, of course. And just to clarify for listeners, if you use Coinbase, Binance, any kind of centralized exchange, I mean, it's they also do the same thing. So this isn't any reason why you shouldn't look into this project or use their wallet. It's a really cool technology. You guys are again lowering barrier to entry for people that aren't as tech savvy, and I think that's very important, especially for crypto to grow and for a new influx of money to come into the market. So definitely, audience members, I'm playing devil's advocate. There is a lot of cool stuff about this tech. It's very unique. Um, I love the usage of a card in order to interact with the app and unlock the app. So definitely check them out. I am just trying to understand, how this works, and specifically how it works on the back end. I know that you guys are based in the U.S. Is the if anything was to happen, with a hack or anything of that sort, are you guys FDIC insured?
Yes,
Ooh,
actually, yes. And that's
Cool.
one question, yes. And also, secondly, okay, I must make something very clear that there is no seed phrase. Okay, if something happens to your card, if you lose it, we send you the new one and you reprogram it there. Okay, because you have your uh, assets within those cards, right? The card that you lose, you only lose physical card. You don't lose your assets and you make the programming there again because I was just gonna answer but waiting for you and Adam to finish. So all the data that we're talking about does not consist of seed phrases like MetaMask or Trust Wallet. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. I was more, semantics. I was more concerned about where the private keys for each respective wallet was going to be stored.
Stored
It
in.
sounds like it's. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, just go ahead, finish. Sorry for interrupting.
No, again, I was just gonna say, I think it sounds like you guys are storing these or a custodial wallet very similar to the way Binance and Coinbase might be, but you have extra layers of security on the back end and even on the front end.
That and on top of those we only have one place, we don't really have like thousands of servers running around which is vulnerable to be hacked, right? So there's only one place, one server running from only one. I can say it's not the correct say but thing to say, but it's not running from one, it's running from one room, to be sorry, my door is ringing, coming back in a minute.
all good. I
It's
got it.
okay. Yeah. So
Um,
go ahead, Adam.
oh, no. Go ahead, please.
I do see here that your CCEAL 5+ government scale secure. Are you also AES encrypted?
Oh, good question. I know the first security protocol is definitely something that we're using.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to ask him when he comes back because he understands a little bit more on the security side. But
Yeah, no worry.
yeah, but I do appreciate you asking because the security element is really important. Like you had said, this is kind of acting as maybe a Coinbase or a Binance might, right? Where
Mhm.
the user's kind of hedging the security based on the name, but also based on, ease of use. Like, okay, hey, like I can have access to buying said coin and I know that it's going to be easy. So what we're doing is, the project's hoping that they can build that name, they can build that trust. But to be able to have that, you first have to have quite a bit more security on the back end. So I appreciate the questions because it is definitely valid. And I do like that this project isn't just relying on one authentication means, but effectively three, where you have to have that card working in tandem with the actual device ID. And if something is a mismatch, you have to initiate a KYC re-verification that's done by a third party instead of the actual company itself. So there's a lot at work there. But at the end of the day, we wanted to make it as simple as possible. Like you could see in that demo where you log in once, I never have to remember logins again. I just swipe the card and my assets are there and I can, transact with them. I can trade them. I can stake them. I actually did want to get into, if it's all right, kind of going through some of this dashboard that's going to be made available at launch.
Yeah, of course. This is a very
Sorry,
cool
can I
spin
say
on crypto
something
storage.
something very quick, very
Certainly.
quick, because the door
Certainly.
ringed and I was interrupted. Sorry. One thing to make everything very clear about data storage and running everything from one place. So when you have the card, so when you have your phone, you do the matching on your own. Okay, so you produce your own private key and only you have your access to it. You know what I mean? So there is no actually data in terms of like your private key or your seed phrase or anything else. So this has to be, very clear with all the listeners also, as well as with you. So there is no data rather than, whom we send cards to and, from which country or which, cities. Some sort of basic data is only stored. Also, of
Got it.
course, the
Okay.
database of
That is a
the
very
website.
important distinction. Okay. That's a very important distinction because that changes the way I think about this changes the way I think about how crypto is stored with your protocol. So when the user gets their card or sets up their card, they actually write down a private key which they store themselves. Is that correct?
Yeah, yes. What's this? Some voice is coming.
Some voices coming.
Voice is coming. I don't,
Oh, I
Oh, I'm
think
not sure.
I think he's having some audio issues, but yes, I appreciate
it's
that
not coming
clarity as
from
well.
me. I muted myself.
Oh, you're saying there's feedback here. I'll mute myself so you can go ahead.
Yeah, so Adam, you were about to get into the dashboard, correct?
Yes. Yeah, and we'll follow up again because I appreciate that
What,
clarity. I think that
what
is
is this
really
voice?
that would probably
I
be me, Barbara. Sorry. Yeah, you might be getting maybe feedback from me, but
Okay.
either way, let's out of
So,
respect of time, let's go
mhm.
ahead and go into the
Yeah,
dashboard
Barbaros,
here.
I
So
don't hear any voice, but maybe what you should try doing is close out
No,
Telegram
it's fine.
and
It's
then open.
fine now. It's fine now. Yeah, it's fine. Sorry,
Okay,
my bad.
no worries, no
okay,
worries.
all good.
So as I
So
was saying, there is no data stored in terms of private keys and all. Only
So
you know,
the end
responsible
user is
from your private
responsible
keys.
for. Got it.
Yes, end
Okay,
user
that's great.
responsible.
That's great. I love that. And I think that's a really important distinction that you made because that is different from centralized exchanges and centralized wallets such as Coinbase and Binance.
Exactly. Very much different.
Got it.
excellent.
Okay, Adam, let's jump
Something
in.
to, yeah, and something to mention there, just real quick, wrapping it up. Like, is there a little bit of time it takes to be able to let the consumer know, hey, this is how to do your seed phrase, this is how to link it up, this is how to do it? Yes, but this company is very focused on education. As you saw there, they had that demo right from the get-go. They want to do the same with, here's how to program your card, here's how to create your seed phrase. All that stuff is going to be mapped out as well, because we wanted to make it as seamless as possible. So now going into the dashboard, once you swipe that card and you're logged in, right, you can see I have my login right there. um, what do you see? Well, you're first going to see your balance, your cross-chain balance, by the way, which we're going to get into the different types of cards and the networks they support. But you can see there is support for tons of different cards, and they're going to be adding more as well. From here, you can see your OCW balance, you can see your overall balance, you can see that your account has been KYC'd and verified, of course. You can then go to the trade tab, and you can actually trade one token to another. Here are some sample ones right now. You can then
Cool.
also stake your tokens. This is a really cool thing because at launch, you're going to be able to do something with your tokens. So not only are you going to be able to stake in and get the different card tiers, which we're going to speak about soon, but you're also going to be able to stake in and earn a reward, an APR, based on the tokens that you're putting in. So what's cool is, to my knowledge, I believe this is actually I think these are just sample numbers, but I know that the private, well, sorry, the seed sale, the initial sale that happened, those folks are already staking in for a year. So they said, cool, we're interested, we're getting a great price, but we're staked in for a year and we're going to get our card as well. Now, this is going to be made available for everyone right at launch. So you're going to be able to stake in your tokens. You're also going to be able to farm LPs if you want to farm LPs
Sorry,
as well.
I'm gonna interrupt you really quick, Adam, because
Please,
I had a question about the staking tab. Those are
sure.
just demo numbers, right? Because those are some remarkable APRs and some of my favorite assets.
These
Those
are
are,
demo
yeah.
numbers, but I think these are
Mhm.
estimates on the APRs. The liquidity is of course just demo, but the APR I think is somewhat close to what it would be. But Barbaros can speak a little bit to that. If
27% on
Yes,
dot. I would take that any day.
I know,
yes,
me too,
exactly.
right? So yes, if this excites you, it does for me as well. Just keep in mind, of course, just for education for everyone, as more people stake in, the APR obviously drops a little bit. It's not a fixed percent, but
Mhm.
if you're hearing about this now and you're interested, yeah, you can get in really early and be able to earn an awesome percentage, even on blue chips, which is great. So you can do the same with LPs in the form of farming, right? We talked about that. You're also going to be able to get whitelisted with the top tier card for their launchpad for their IFOs. So last thing I wanted to cover is they're also going to be releasing something called OCW Scan. Now, what this is a lot of folks here, I'm sure, are quite versed in using BSC Scan, in using Ether Scan, maybe all the different ones, right? Well, given that the different card tiers are going to support multiple networks, you're actually going to be able to plug in your address and see from OCW Scan, this last tab, you're going to be able to see cross-chain what balances are. You're going to be able to see cross-chain, more importantly, what transactions occurred, basically as a way to view into all these transactions without needing to have 5, 6 tabs open, right? You're going to be able to do that for all the supported networks. So I think that's really cool. It's a technology that they're developing, linking all of them, so that way it's just in one place and it's in your dashboard already.
And Adam,
So,
tell us a bit more
huh?
about the different card. Tell us a bit more about the
Yes.
different
Oh
card
gosh,
tiers.
I can't wait. So let me get into that real quick. I'm going to go to the physical card. And let's pop over there. Okay, so these are the OCW cards. So as we spoke about, these are NFC-based cards produced in the US. You saw one that was actually used in the demo there. And there's 3 different tiers. So let's go down to the tiers. First tier is Class X. What is Class X? Well, this is the entry card that really lets you get started. It requires 100 OCW tokens to stake in. Once you initially stake in on launch, you are then eligible to get it sent out to you. You don't need to wait a year. It'll be sent out to you immediately to try out. So that way you can, interact with the with the protocol and try out everything. What benefits it does, we already spoke about a lot of these, right? It's cold asset storage in the form of the card actually being able to act as a cold wallet in itself once it's programmed. It supports 2 networks, the Binance Smart Chain and the Ethereum chain. It supports, of course, NFC interaction, but also, I didn't even mention this, contactless payment infrastructure. So it's not enabled out of the box for all countries, but it will be opened up as different countries and different partnerships align themselves. So it has the technology to be able to be used as a payment means as well, but it's mainly going to be, at least at start, is going to be used primarily as that medium to be able to unlock the account. And then, of course, we talked about NFC encryption via the app. It's a unique ID on one side, and then the card is the other authentication means to actually unlock it. So this is the core way to get started. This gives you access to the core functions of what they want to do with OCW. Next, moving up to the OCWG Plus, I like this because you actually have a QR code. It looks pretty fancy too, but has a QR code on it, so I can actually receive tokens right to this from someone. Like if someone's like, "Hey, can I pay you?" and what is it? BNB or Bitcoin or something, they can actually scan this and they can actually deposit that amount right in. So that's kind of cool. That's your receiving address. Now, what we add is we add another network. We add Polygon on top of the Binance Smart Chain and the Ethereum chain as far as support to be able to transact, stake, and do everything there. But you're also adding, this is really important, the My Inheritors option. What does the My Inheritors option do? Well, we talked about ease of use. What if you could also have a way to safely hand down assets in case something were to happen? God forbid something happens, but if something happens, that's something that weighs on my mind. I have, personally a ledger, right? So I have a Ledger Nano X. If I God, you don't even want to say it, right? If I was to get into an accident or if something were to happen, would my girlfriend understand how to use this? Would my mom understand how to use this? Probably not. I could leave detailed instructions. I could do whatever, and it gets frustrating. We're on the cutting edge. We understand how to do this. A lot of people don't. And it's not because they're stupid or anything. It's just because we are in this world. So how can we make that easy? Well, they thought of that ahead of time and they added in that My Inheritors option. So what that does is someone, when you initially set everything up, you can say, I want this person to be the recipient of my accounts if I were to pass away or if something were to happen to me, and you have them verifying KYC as well. So that way, if something were to happen, that person could contact OCW even through an email and be sent the link to actually KYC and then get access to be able to go in and manage from there. So that's something really cool. I have never seen that before. And I think it's just realistic in the world we live in which, this is still cutting edge technology. We're probably 5, 6 years away from any type of mass adoption, if not longer. So in the interim time, why not make it easy for people to understand and be able to inherit those funds if they need to. So again, that's set by the initial person receiving the card. If they have this card, if they staked in enough 250 OCW tokens, then they're going to be given that option. They don't have to set it up, but they're given the option if they'd like to. So now going
I love that.
into the last,
That's amazing.
I think it's so cool. I like when we're talking about innovation, there's so much like copy and paste, borrow, steal, whatever you want to say. Well, when you can actually add innovation and make it easy for the investor and new people who are not in the crypto world to understand things, that's where a project can really shine. So I was very happy to see that as well. So what does the best card do? The exclusive card, right? This black card. Well, it has everything we just talked about. Plus, you're also adding support for the Huobi eco chain, the Phantom chain, and the Fuster chain as well. You have that inheritor option, but you also are whitelisted. Your card and your account is whitelisted for any IDOs that are launched by OCW. And it also supports, like I said, 6 networks, and you're able to interact and trade and farm and everything between those pairs all through your dashboard. So here's what's cool is the ease of use of this. I'm not connecting to additional dexes. I'm not doing any of that. I'm managing everything through my dashboard that is secured through basically a three-factor authentication. You can even add more steps in there if you want via that card. I don't need to worry about, okay, I'm new to crypto, or maybe I've had crypto for a while, I've been in this world, and now I connected to the wrong version of PancakeSwap. I connected to the wrong beefy finance or something like that, and now all my funds are gone, right? Like, I've actually known people that's happened to, and it is not fun. So when you can add in
Nope.
more security, whether it can be done through a ledger, whether it can be done through a Trezor, however you want to do it, it should be done. You shouldn't just rely on a MetaMask or Trust Wallet unless you are extremely careful, and even then, you never know. So it's nice to have that secondary means of protection, whether it be one of those or whether it be something that's ease of use focused and three-factor authentication usable, such as this. So that's high level what these cards are, the 3 different tiers. Top and best, giving you access to everything we talked about, plus any projects they choose to launch. And it only requires 500 OCW tokens. I say only because right now the token price is quite cheap. I actually wanted to go over some of the tokenomics and some of the prices, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course, and I wanted us to get to that as well. Before we do, I did want to make one comment regarding what you said. I always stress to my new friends that are getting into crypto, please don't store stuff on MetaMask. Please don't store
Yeah.
stuff just on the Trust Wallet browser plugin, because all these, you hear stories every once in a while about people getting their MetaMask hacked, their Trust Wallet hacked. Well, what happened was they actually got their computer hacked, and the perpetrator was just able to, take control of their browser, take control of their computer, and press a few buttons, and boom, all your funds are gone. It doesn't happen like that with a cold storage wallet. It's honestly impossible for it to happen like that. So I always really encourage people, our listeners, to use hardware wallets. Anyway,
100%.
moving on
No,
to the token.
thank you, and I think that's an important like aside. Is
Can I make one correction, Adam, please, if possible?
sure, yeah, go ahead.
Because when we, can you get back to the staking page? And just
Yes.
wanted to make sure the rates are there. You see there isn't fake or isn't demo. So you can basically go there now, lively, and take that advantage of high APR staking. So those numbers are correct there.
So the
So
liquidity is accurate as well, because I thought this was
Yes, it
demo.
is.
No, this is
No, it's not
accurate. Wow.
demo. It's accurate. You can go check
Oh,
so
after
excellent.
the AMA is done.
with that said, Barbaros, how are you guys able to offer such high APRs on these assets? I mean, I can't speak for some of the smaller ones, but AXS, CHR, DOT, are you pulling? Are these? Is this liquidity hosted in PancakeSwap, or what's going on with this?
Well, actually, it belongs to the answer. I can, receive the answer from the higher level of authorization from the company. So,
Sure.
so to say, I am just like the marketing manager. I am not the employer of the company. This is the company. Actually, this is in the first place. I will not make it very, much longer because we don't have time. But this, the first reason that you see me and Adam in this project, because this is a wallet project and there are regulations. depending on the project, such as like wallet storage, like Jax's. If you're going to run such things, there is actually not no people showing their faces, or if it's an individual project, of course it's risky to invest. But for the companies who are basically behind such projects, they're using like outsources to express their project, so to say.
So the team is not doxed.
The team, actually, there is no team. This is company. They are working only employees. This is the
Right,
company's on. This isn't the company's only field, to be said.
But people know the idea. People can, your users, your investors can go online and find out the name of the company and the entities behind
Yes.
it. Correct? Got it.
Yes, correct. Correct, of course.
And
The KYC
the
is
reason
done by the company, by the way, with the
and the
company
reason I was
certification, right?
asking about how they're doing such high APRs is because if the APRs are being paid out in a native token, I would understand, but they're being paid out in BUSD, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And
No,
I wanted to go back. I wanted to just, but before we get to the token, really quick with the tiers. So even for the lowest barrier to entry, if someone wanted to use your tech, they would have to own OCW tokens.
yes, at least 100.
And if I'm a newbie and I want to get, I hear about OCW and I want to get set up with an application and a card, how would I go about getting OCW tokens in my wallet to begin with?
Good question. So let's actually go back to the OCW site. Okay. Okay, so just speaking a little bit about how to get that. So first of all, the audits are there that we spoke about just in brief, InterFi audit and InterFi KYC for the team. A couple different ways. So we talked about initially there was a seed phrase where the token was sold cheaper. I'd love to go over those because I love to go over transparency. So there was 100,000 tokens sold at 30 cents. That equated to about 50K raise, and that was from that seed round, right? That seed sale, I should say. Now, currently, the pre-sale is open for $1.85, and then exchange listing tomorrow on Probit, actually a pretty decent sized exchange, is going to be for 222. So right now the pre-sale is for 185, and then exchanges for 222. I'll be honest, immediately when I hear that, I'm concerned as an investor because I'm like, hey, like this seed round, right? That's a lot of. It's not like an exorbitantly large amount of money, but that's a crazy discount. I'm worried about these folks dumping, right? Well, what I wanted to focus on again is those funds were already staked in. So that kind of makes sense a little bit now with at least part of those tokens of the OCW tokens already being staked in. I think Barbaros told me yesterday about 90% of those folks actually already staked in and are locked in for a year. But also, they're going to be working with some market making entities to be able to do buyback for the token as well. So if there is any type of drop, which could happen potentially, you never know, they're able to and they're ready to be able to do buybacks as well to be able to help out the token, especially in those initial phases, paired with a pretty dang large marketing budget to make sure that the word gets out. So what they're focusing on is ensuring that there's buy pressure throughout, whether it be pre-sale right now where it's at a substantial discount, or even on centralized exchange listing. They're going to have the community exposure of that, but they're also going to have marketing on, of course, tomorrow as well and forward. So how to buy? Well, if you click the Buy Now tab, I believe they've updated this to make it easy. I think you actually, you have to first set up an account. And then once you set up an account, I believe you can go to your dashboard and buy OCW.
And also, one word for receiving the card. If you want to receive the card by staking, you need to stake a year without any APR, but you don't need to pay the token. You don't need to pay the card then. And the card, if you stake, the card you will receive card immediately after you stake. Can you come to the stake page? And there,
Sure.
if you can go to the bottom, there are three lanes there, as you can see. That represents three different type of cars there. So if you want Class X or G Plus or Exclusive, you just need to go there, push the stake now. and start staking, because it shows you now, because we are not launched yet. After the launch, it will be actually uploaded every minute. So you need to stake there your tokens for a year without any APR, but you will receive your card immediately after you KYC it. Because the card
So is
price
there
is
a,
not obvious yet, but it will not be so cheap, you know.
so for anyone that decides they're going to stake, there is a 1-year lockup period?
Yes, without any APR, but you don't pay your card. For example, if somebody else wants to receive their card immediately without staking a year, for example, they're going to pay symbolic numbers, for example, maybe $500 for a Class X card, or maybe $1,000 for G Plus. Just, symbolic numbers. The price is not certain yet.
Understood. So about 90% of the seed investors have decided, hey, I'm going to go ahead and start staking my OCW
Yes,
tokens. And even if they wanted to unstake, they would have to wait 1 year.
1 year, exactly.
Very cool. Okay, so moving on, I wanted to get a high level overview of your tokenomics, and I also understand that you guys have plans to burn about 95% of the total OCW supply over time. Can you tell us, exactly how you plan on doing this and how it will make it more decentralized?
Adam, you want to say, or
Sure.
I should?
Sure. So effectively, when Barbaros first took over, I don't have necessarily a slide to speak about this, but I can just speak about it. When he initially took over, there was about 1 billion circulating supply, quite a bit. And then when he
Total
took
supply,
over, they
not
were
circulating.
what was that? Sorry.
Total supply, not circulating supply. But a
Sorry.
billion
Total
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 supply.
so total supply of 1 billion, and then burned down to 10 million. Is that correct, Barbaros? Burned down to 10 million.
Yes. So the
Okay.
actually burn is already done, so to say.
Yes, that's why I said burn down too. Yep. So down to 10 million. So that creates a circulating supply end of 2022 of 2 million. So there's a added additional circulating token amount of 500,000 added each year. So basically like an emission, I guess you could say, up to 500,000 added each year. But the max cap is 10 million now.
Another devil's advocate question. Do you find that the barrier to entry, financially speaking, is a bit high compared to other cold storage wallets, and even hot wallets?
Well, so to say, the 10 million actually the total supply, the circulating supply for until the end of 2022 will be 2 million only. So which actually left a million, half of it for pre-sale, and half of it, for circulation until 2022. So and it's going to be raising by 500,000 more each year. So we will not actually make like price jump and then come back down. So the waving will not be so much, because this is what we want from this coin, to be as stable as possible, make as as far as possible at launch, of course, and will go slowly, but only to the end of the let's say peak chart. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
actually, from the in terms of tokenomics, I think this has a very stable tokenomics.
So I did want to answer your question though, Noah. So you were asking the barrier of entry. So for the base card, the Class X card, with 100 OCW staking required on pre-sale, that would equate to about $185. It's not cheap, but also if you look at something like a Trezor or potentially a higher end ledger, you're at about that much. This is maybe potentially a little bit more expensive. But when we're thinking about the ease of use and how everything interplays within the app itself, and the fact that you can choose to stake in for a year, as Barbaros mentioned, and you're able to not have to pay for the card in itself, is pretty nice. So you're given flexibility. If you want to pay for it, you can, but you don't need to if you stake in for a year. So you kind of have that option a little bit.
Sweet. And I wanted to get to community questions here in a moment. Before I do that, Adam, is there anything that I haven't asked that you would like to talk about?
Oh man. Well, there's so much with this project, to be honest. The biggest thing again is just focusing in on ease of use. Like the whole point of this, right, is to make it easy to use, easy to understand, and an all-in-one interface. And what I like personally is the fact that it's all working. It's all able to be seen. It's able to be tested. You can interface with everything. You can sign up for an account right now. You can buy OCW tokens. All of that is made available and made easy to use. So I would say what sets us apart, what's really something to focus on and potentially invest in for pre-sale that's going on right now through tomorrow is or ending today and then tomorrow is the launch, is just seeing, does that value proposition resonate for you? You know, as the investor hearing this, you know, you brought up some amazing points, Noah, around security, and I'm happy we're able to work through that and be able to speak to how OCW wants to find a solution to that. If those things resonate, if they're interesting to you, I just wanted to kind of leave in like a closing statement before we go to the community questions is check out the white paper. Don't buy anything yet. Read, right? Read the white paper, understand, join the community, ask them if there's any additional questions. And if it's convincing, if it's something that looks interesting and you want to get to be part of this experience and own your own card, then consider investing. But I first would love to hear from the community for those questions for sure.
Yeah, certainly. And before we get to those, one last one for me, or a couple more for me. How many developers are working on this at once?
So I know it is quite a big team. As Barbaros has spoken to, they are based out of the U.S., so the core development team is there, but they also have you know, a Turkish-based team. They have a couple other countries as well. Barbaros, could you speak to the exact amount?
Well, as far as I know, there are two people responsible for developing the software for phone application. They already took care of the Android. The iOS will be soon as well. And there are two other people for the website, backend, forend, you know, development of the website. Also, one person responsible for the token development in terms of contract and others. And there are some other third parties for banners and stuff that I can graphical designing and all. And me as a
And
marketing
Barbara,
manager,
yeah,
but I'm not
yeah,
in
and
the
I'm glad you mentioned that.
companies employed. Mhm.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you mentioned that. Barbaros, apart from AMAs, what are some of the more lucrative marketing strategies you're using in order to generate exposure and distinguish yourselves in, in a pretty competitive space?
Thank you. It's a very good question. Well, I really, from my side, I really take care. It's really important for me to do AMAs with the well-known communities like yours, and it's a really good way to express your project for the serious investors. And also, on the other hand, since Adam mentioned, there are branches all over the world, including US, Turkey, and one in Czech Republic too. So there is one in Russia as well. So there has been some marketing in terms of those both local in which both local influencers and other influencers from other countries. So actually, I have a list where I share often in global group as well. I can share here too. I share in the places where we do AMA. There has been many good marketing both on YouTube and Twitter, also Telegram too. But so far, I think I can say maybe more than 50K is spent for marketing, and more than that, or to be listed on Profit too. So because people ask, so what's going to be, what has been done, in terms of marketing with the budget that has been raised from the press sale. So that's actually a very good way to answer those questions. But the strategy will be just a little bit different maybe after the launch, because many more JAX platforms will be, I think, will be coming pretty soon. I can't reveal the names without shaking hands, but also will be more YouTube and more marketing in terms of Twitter with Twitter influencers. Also, maybe you're looking for billboards on maybe Times Square too. So there are many things, but it's all related to budget.
Yeah, and I would love to see a billboard of you guys in Times Square down the line. That'd be a lot of fun.
Connections if you have money, yes.
So, moving on to community questions. Dr. Aisha is the first one of the day, and then we can move on to a couple others.
Thank you, Noah. Thank you so much. Okay, I have a couple of questions. First, as physical OCW cards will have NFC contactless payment enabled, I was wondering that will it be compatible with other NFC apps or DE apps for crypto payments as well?
From your phone?
Yes, but
Aisha?
Barbara, she's asking basically within the dashboard, within the interface, once you link up your card, are you also going to be able to have like a web-like experience like MetaMask does, where you can connect to additional dApps and such?
Well, as far as I know, it doesn't really have that yet, but I can ask. Yeah, it's a good question.
Okay, thank you. Okay, you mentioned that if users lose their card, users can have replacement card with assets intact. But I was curious, will users be able to temporarily or permanently block their OCW physical card using OCW app?
Well, actually, no need because it's only compatible with your phone. So even if somebody has your card, cannot do anything with it.
Okay.
So because there's going to be a whole new card. So the old one actually blocking or not is not gonna actually make sense because say that you lost your card, you found it again, it's not gonna be the same because also card has its own number too.
Understood. Okay, I was wondering that will OCW have its own 24 by 7 customer service, customer support service for users in future?
In future, yes. At the moment, working only with the contact part of the website. But for the future, yes, live support will be available 24/7.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for answering my questions.
Thank you for your great questions.
Thank you, Aisha. Next question is from Boomer Light. Boomer, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. All right, Boomer, I think you might be having some technical difficulties, man. Let's go to Said Rahmat.
Yeah, thank you, Noah. So I want to understand this concept. The crypto assets will be stored on OCW card, right?
Correct.
And when the user loses the card, one can have a replacement card with all the assets in it. So I was wondering that will the assets from the lost card will be recovered, or it will be insured assets?
Will be recovered. The same message that you had your card in the past will receive the new card.
Okay, got it. So as there are different types of card, I was wondering, are there any withdrawal limits to them?
Well, it's depending on KYC, and it's depending on your let's say for example, if you want to say, for example, withdraw $1 million, of course there will be limitations to that. But at this point, it's not actually limited to anything, but it will be depending on the KYC level, which we will reveal soon.
Okay, understood. And I was thinking that do you have any plan in future to maybe launch Visa or debit Mastercard OCW cards, or integrate Visa or Mastercard into your own cards?
Very great question. As Adam said, actually it has the NFC feature, and also QR code feature too. So we actually plan to launch this with Visa or Mastercard for people to be able to pay off their desired, for example, groceries or anything that is accepts crypto payment. So the structure actually allows that, but it's depending on the country and the regulations. If US say I accept Bitcoin payment in, for example, while buying cars, then yeah, you can pay it off with this card.
Okay, understood. And my final question, quick question. So I've read that on your white paper that OCW doesn't receive any commission on any transaction. So it got me thinking that how are you planning on earning revenue? Do you have a buy and sell tax, or it's not there?
Well, actually, the revenue coming from firstly from the car sales, and secondly from the taxes from JAX platforms. Since this is the company-based token, there's no team token, there is no development token, such things doesn't include in this tokenomics. The only revenue is expected from huge car sale, and also from there's going to be plenty more JAXs coming soon, probably. So there is going to be taxes during those withdrawals deposits. So those are the revenues that company plan to take profit from.
Okay, understood. Thank you for explaining that. Thank you. Thank you so much.
But so to say, there is no limitation for withdrawal at the moment, as I said, just to make clear of it.
Okay,
But
okay, got it.
might be. So we will see how it goes.
Yeah, got it. Thank you, thank you.
Well, Adam, Barbaros, we are at the end of the AMA. You're both fantastic speakers. I really enjoyed talking to you. That was really educational for me. I didn't know that the world of crypto storage was still evolving, and there was a lot more to be seen. If you want to leave us with a quick summary for our listeners that are just tuning in of who you are, what you're building, and why people should consider looking at your project.
Yeah, I'd love to give the final wrap. So, for anyone that just joined in or is excited by this, but we talked about a lot. So, what was this all about again, right? Well, again, I think this really encapsulates a lot. It's an experience that gives you something which we all wish we had, especially if you're new, a dashboard that's easy to interface with, supports multiple networks, and that has the security and peace of mind through a three-factor authentication type of mechanism. How that's done is through these physical cards, these OCW cards, which we spoke about here. You can qualify for either one on launch by being able to stake in and keeping it for the year, or you can buy them if you'd like as well. The benefit is you're able to get security on that dashboard. So when you log in, it is done just with a simple card tap on the back of the phone and you're in. So this again is a project that is taking the complex and boiling it down to something that's easy to understand and even to the limit of inheritable. So if I have all these assets, I did well on a project or whatever, and I now have some holdings, well, I can know that I can pass this down if I want to my relatives, to my friends, to my family, to whoever. And I know that it's safe because that KYC that we mentioned earlier isn't done by the company itself. It's done by a third party entity that then verifies the information and then is able to allow access again. Also, something that was really important that you spoke about, Noah, which I appreciate, is the user is the one who sets up the card. The user is the owner and controller of the seed phrase. As the common saying goes, you never give away your seed phrase. If you don't own your seed phrase, you don't own your crypto. It's very true. And that's why this project still relies on that fact that you own your seed phrase. Now, what this is doing is this is making it easier to be able to have access to your account through just a tap instead of needing to remember logins, needing to remember, like a specific, pin or password or whatever it might be. You just tap to the back. If you want it more secure, you can add even more security, but this is the base level of how to make it as easy as possible to interact with. So again, all of this is powered via those physical cards that we talked about. And if any of this at a high level was interesting to you, especially the pre-sale price that's available right now, and then launch happening tomorrow on Probit for quite a bit more, 222, then I would definitely consider first check out the Telegram. Only go to the official. There's always fakes out there, so only go to the official one that you guys were so nice enough to be able to pin in the announcement. Once you go there, research a little more for yourself, and if you feel comfortable, consider going back to the online cold wallet website, buying some tokens once you set up an account, and then you'll be all set for launch tomorrow.
Thank you, Adam. And for our listeners, I like to always iterate Whalecoin Talk is an educational channel. We do not give financial advice. Always do your own research. With that said, definitely go and check out Online Cold Wallet. Engage with their Telegram, like and comment on their Twitter, and visit their website. It's www.onlinecoldwallet.com. They're doing a lot of cool stuff on that end. Adam, Barbaros, it was a pleasure hosting you all today, and wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
Thank you. It's
Likewise,
been a
man.
blast,
Thank you
y'all.
so much.